All right, so when are we going to get the one big, beautiful tax cut? Joining us now is Montana Senator Steve Daines, who is a member of the Senate Finance Committee. Senator Daines, you're a prince to come on. We appreciate it very, very much. Look, I want to start with something I don't really care about. But there's this debate, and some polls are showing that the public thinks that the one big, beautiful bill is going to raise the federal budget deficit in the years ahead. I don't believe that. I can show you lots of numbers why I don't believe that. But my question to you, politically as well as financially, how do you deal with that? Can you get that out, communicate it, fight it, combat it? Because those numbers don't work for me.
Well, Larry, I've yet to meet an American that wants to see their taxes go up. And let's just keep in mind, this bill stops the largest tax increase in American history. The average working family in America will see a $1,700 per year increase in their taxes if we don't act in Congress. Not to mention the fact that the way forward, Larry, is growth. You got to keep growing the economy.
Yes,
this will be the most single important growth policy that we put in place probably in decades. And for competitiveness, this does some amazing things to make sure that America will be competing with the Chinese on innovation by incentivizing R&D spending. And so a lot of things to be thankful for in this bill, but nobody wants to see the taxes go up, and taxes will go up. Biggest tax increase in history if we don't act.
If you shake the tree, Senator, you and I have talked about this. You put a 3% growth dividend in there, 3% growth dividend. You've said it. Thune has said it. Mr. Crapo has said it. 3% gives you an extra $4 trillion that pays for everything under the sun. And then, of course, even the CBO gives you $3 trillion over 10 years on the 10% tariff, which pays for it. And then you do have a $1.7 trillion reduction or savings in a lot of the smaller mandatory programs, Medicaid, food stamps, and so forth. I just think, I know those numbers are phony. I'm just seeing polls that show that people are worried about that. I don't care. I don't want you to worry about anything except getting the bill done. But I'm just putting it out there.
Well, you're absolutely right, Larry. Just think about it for a moment. It's very binary. If we do this, we'll see some of the greatest growth in the American economy in decades. If we don't do it, we're going to see a recession. It's about as simple as that. The way to get out of our fiscal deficits here in Washington, of which count me in as a fiscal hawk. You're a fiscal hawk, Larry. We're fiscal hawks. You don't get out of this by raising taxes. Get out of it by growth and also reducing spending. This bill does both.
Yes, sir.
It is about growth. It also cuts $1.5 trillion in spending. We'd all like to do more, but this is probably the greatest spending decrease bill we've seen in decades as well. So you put those two things together, this is a winner. We need to get it passed.
Well, you got several more years to continue to cut spending. You got several more years because you're going to carry the House by an even bigger margin and the Senate by an even bigger margin next year once you get this passed and the economy booms and the stock market keeps going up and peace breaks out in the Middle East. It's the darndest thing I've ever seen. Senator Daines, time me out. What's the timing for this bill?
Yeah, well, first of all, John Thune, our great majority leader, is doing a stellar job managing the U.S. Senate, leading the U.S. Senate. What John Thune has told us, we're going to be here until we pass this bill, which means we're suspending our weekend plans. He's going to keep us here, as he should. That's called leadership, to keep us here until we get this bill passed and over to the House. I know the president wants to see this done by the 4th of July. Look, you don't want to go against President Trump. He is an amazing, strong leader, and John Thune. That is an A-grade team that will be leading the charge here in the U.S. Senate. We'll get it done. Hand it to Speaker Johnson, who's doing a stellar job over there, and get this on the president's desk by early July.
Senator Daines, if you're there on the weekend, I'm going to cover you. I got a radio show on Saturday for 3 hours. Heck, I'll come here to Fox if they'll have me. If you work, I always work 6 days a week anyway. You know that.
Well, we'll be here. And look, I'd rather be in that cool air of Montana instead of this hot, humid air of D.C. So there's a pretty good incentive right there to make sure we get this done.
You believe it, my saintly wife is going out to Montana this weekend for a family gathering at Whitefish. Me, I got to stick around and work radio. There's something wrong with that, but maybe you can psychoanalyze me at another time.
Larry, your wife's a lot smarter than you are. I'll just say that.
It's the truth. It's the absolute dead-in-the-water truth. You got that completely right. Anyway, Senator Daines, you're a good sport for coming on. We appreciate it, sir.